Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Game Day Show. We got an exciting episode for you all. I'm Ethan Bass, your host, and I'm with
That's Simon.
And we are back for another episode. It's been a while, but we're starting to get back on track. Today is the national championship game, so it's super exciting. We're going to make our picks. And this is a Formula One special, so we have not done Formula One on the channel. Super excited to bring you guys Formula One content on this channel right now and in the near future. But let's start with our Formula One. Now, this has been I think this has been one of the best F1 seasons. Now, I started getting into Formula One, but obviously Netflix Drive to Survive. I think you did the same, Seth, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. My brother was a little bit more of a fan before I was, but definitely Drive to Survive was the reason that I started watching.
Yeah, it's been a crazy season. I think everyone talks about the battle between Max and Lewis, but honestly, there's a lot of other battles like the Ferrari McLaren battle. That was also a pretty huge battle there. But I feel like the whole season was took up by Max and Lewis, and it was incredible. On Abu Dhabi, it was, they were tied in points, and then we all saw that controversial finish. You're a Mercedes fan. I mean, you like Lewis, right?
I'd claim myself as a McLaren fan, big Danny Rick fan, but in terms of this championship, there were really only two main contenders. So out of the two, I had to take my main man Lewis.
See, Seth and I are the same. We both love Lando and we both love Daddy Rick. But I went with Max since I want to see a new winner and he's a young fella. But I feel like there's a lot of controversial parts on should the final lap should they win under the safety car or should they continue racing. I feel like throughout the season though there was a lot of moments where Max was disrespected by the FA and so was Lewis too. They were both disrespected, but I feel like what Michael Masi did, the race director, I feel like that he wanted just a race and ending on the safety car. I don't think that's what he wanted. Now it's very complicated. But, what do you think, Seth?
I mean, truthfully, what I got to say to Massey in general is F1 is not WWE. WWE is a scripted show where there's a clear winner and they choose who's going to win. This is a sport just like basketball, football, any other sport that you're playing. You shouldn't decide what's going on just for the enjoyment of the fans. If the rules say that it is going to finish under a safety car, it should finish under a safety car.
Correct. But what do you think about some of the other controversial moments? Like in Abu Dhabi, on the first lap, I think maybe it was turn 5. Max and Lewis almost collided, but then Lewis came off the track. Max stayed on the track. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's aggressive. They're both going for a championship, and of course, things like that is going to happen. But I don't know, just the way that Max and sometimes Lewis as well, the way that they handle those situations just isn't the best, and it leads him into problems. It brings him into trouble, and that's kind of why there's so much controversy, especially with this season.
Honestly, even though there's so much controversy, you do have to give respect to both drivers.
Oh, for sure, both incredible drivers.
They were insane this season, and to make sure, especially at the end of the season where it comes down to one race, that's just crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's really what we'd like to see. I mean, for the past 8 years, it's been absolutely dominated by Mercedes AMG. And truthfully, I mean, it was a good change of pace to see another team really in the mix. And when it comes down to the final race, I mean, that's I think is a good season overall.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about drivers now. Then there's 3 drivers where I am very proud of. The first driver I'm proud of is Lando Norris. I think he took a big step up this year.
I mean, starting beginning of the season, of course, he fell down a little bit in the driver standings, but he was in the top 3, which is definitely a big step and definitely what McLaren wanted to do, and it's a good look for the future with the new car.
And obviously, you got a bunch of podiums, Monaco, and then obviously the big one in Monza with Daddy Rick winning, and then the 1-2, and then Russia. Oh my God, he almost had it, right? It was in Russia.
Oh, man, yeah. Yes, I believe so, with the rainy race. And it really just came down to strategy. It was luck of the draw. It's one of those situations where he definitely had it, but the other situations didn't allow him to secure the W.
When he fell off the track, I was like, oh, no, because I feel like everyone in F1 was rooting for Lando because it's hard to hit on the guy. You know what I'm saying?
And is a guy that would be his first win, which we saw I think one new driver to get their first win this season. I believe it was Esteban Ocon.
Oh, I was about to say Esteban is like that race, like that brings back so many memories. The Hungarian Grand Prix, that was crazy.
So yeah, definitely another interesting driver to be looking out for with the new cars coming out here.
Yeah, I mean, another one I'm looking at is Carlos Sainz. Now, he actually beat Charles Leclerc in his first season in Ferrari. I think he had the best season in terms of new drivers, coming in.
Definitely another interesting one. Now, Charles Leclerc, he is the Ferrari poster boy. He has got this huge contract with them. I believe it's 8 years or something like that.
Crazy.
So much money being spent on him. And to come in and get beat by the new driver, I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, but like Carlos Sainz has always been, a firecracker driver. I mean, every year he has progressed. Same with another guy I'm about to talk about. Like every year he has progressed, and this year he just took another step forward, coming in 5th in the driver standings. Only behind Red Bull and Mercedes drivers. So I'm pretty proud of him this season.
Yeah, definitely interesting with the younger guys. I mean, Carlos Sainz is definitely on the older end of the younger guys. I think he's 25 or 26 years old, but still definitely young. He's got many years to, improve. And with Ferrari, I think he could do some great things.
And Carlos Sainz has the best style. Well, maybe Lewis, but Carlos Sainz, like I think Seth likes him the best, right?
I feel like Carlos Sainz definitely up there for some of my favorite drivers. He's a classy guy,
Very classy. I don't know if you saw his Instagram picture with him like in the Ferrari suit.
Damn. I don't know if I did.
I'll show you after the show, but yeah, it was great. Yeah, the dude has a lot of style. Anyways, another driver I'm looking at here is Pierre Gasly. Now, he didn't win, but I feel like he paced so well, especially in qualifying and then the race. I think he took a big step forward this year.
Gasly's an interesting situation because after being dropped by Red Bull, everybody was like, "What is this kid like? What is he doing in the sport?" He was kind of a little Nikita Mazepin type racer. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really respected him.
Mazepin was the worst driver in the grid.
Oh man, absolutely terrible. But with him, and then he came in, he got a win with AlphaTauri, and it really was a big step for his career. And then this season, with all the podiums, obviously some races he converted into points, some races he didn't, but definitely big, especially in the car that he was in.
100%. I mean, all right, so looking at Haas, I want to shift our towards way to 2022 now. We have a new car, we have new regulations, and there's going to be a lot of shift in the standings, where Haas, maybe an Ashton Martin or an Alfa Romeo may get up in the standings because of the new car regulations. Like give me a ranking of all 10 teams, like from last to first, of who do you think in the constructor will be best and who will be worst? Starting with number 10. Who do you think will be number 10?
So number 10, I think we're really not going to see much of a change. Haas, I think they're still going to be down there. It's not really about the car itself, but they just do not have enough money to compete with some of the other teams. So for that reason alone, I think they will most likely stand.
All right, I think Haas will be better. I think Mick Schumacher will get a point. I don't think Mazepin will do anything, but I think Mick Schumacher does have a lot of potential, and I think that he will get, at least a point, or something across the season. So, all right.
Number 9, I think we got. It's going to be an interesting one. I feel like Alfa Romeo is going to be down there again. I just one of those teams that it's clearly the undercard to the Ferrari. Obviously, not paying as much attention. Obviously, it's a good place for the young drivers to start. With speaking of them, they get Guan Yu Zhou. They picked up the new Guan Yu Zhou.
And then we also have Valtteri going into the team.
So in terms of Valtteri, he's an interesting situation because truthfully, I feel like a lot of his success was built on the fact that he was literally in a Mercedes car. I'm not saying that he's a bad driver, but I'm just saying that the car definitely boosted his ability.
I agree.
And most of his performances.
I agree. I also have Alfa Romeo. I think hopefully Valtteri will at least get, in the top 10. Because I am rooting for him. And then Guan Yu Zhou, he's a rookie, so you never really know with the rookies. So number 8 is very interesting. I'm going actually with Ashton Martin.
Really? Alrighty.
So They were number 7, and Williams was 8 this year. I'm going to Ashton Martin, though. I'm not putting Williams. The reason why is I just think Lance Stroll will take a decline, especially since their team principal's gone and their main sponsor's gone, so they don't have enough money. So, yeah, I have Ashton Martin.
So number 8, I'm going to hit it with AlphaTauri, and I have a really interesting explanation to one, which kind of ties in to my explanation of Red Bull, which will be coming up in a few other picks. But AlphaTauri is gonna definitely drop down in the standings, and that's not because of their drivers. Their drivers are really good. Yuki, good young driver. Pierre, amazing young driver. But due to the fact that these teams, they're not. I don't think Red Bull and the Red Bull engine and that team, because obviously it's known that AlphaTauri is a sister team for Red Bull. Their development, they're not going to do as well with this new car because they put a lot of effort into the 2020 season 2021 car.
Yeah, and when they won
and I think that since they put all of that time and the energy and the money into this car, that it's not going to be as good for 2022 with the new regulations. So that's my pick. AlphaTauri.
Interesting pick. 7, I got Williams. Just because, Nicholas Latifi is either on or off, and then Alex Albon's coming back into F1, but it can go both ways. He can do amazing. He can do pretty bad. So I'm putting him like pretty average, number 7 for Williams.
I'm going to hit you exactly in the same spot right there. 7, Williams. Basically the same reason. I think that they have an increase in their performance, and Latifi, we've never seen anything truly special from him, but he scored points this season, and so has Russell. I mean, obviously Russell moving to Mercedes is big, but
Saturday.
But it's definitely interesting, and I think that Williams can definitely move up in the standings.
100%. Number 6, I actually got. I'm going to go with AlphaTauri. Same reason as you said. They're kind of the sister team of Red Bull, but I still think that Pierre will, cushion them up. But Yuki has shown some potential. He's gotten into the top 5 a couple times. So, I have AlphaTauri number 6.
6, I'm going to hit with Aston Martin. I think they have a really good two great drivers. Stroll, I mean, everybody's always knocking on him because they claim that he got a seat from his dad's money, which is true, but for ahead of the drivers that did have that situation happen to them, Stroll is definitely the best. And of course, fun-loving Sebastian Vettel, great driver, champion.
Even better guy off the track.
So definitely 2 great drivers. I'm going to go Aston Martin 6.
Number 5, I have Alpine. They're in the Renault engine. They kind of, sometimes, have problems with that. But Esteban, he did take a big step up. He won the Hungarian Grand Prix, which was a big thing for him. Then obviously Fernando Alonso, so kind of showing shades of back when he was at Renault, when he finished on the podium for the first time in a while. So I have Alpine number 5.
I feel the same way. Alpine number 5. El Plan. That's all I got to say. Fernando Alonso, absolutely amazing driver. I'm so happy that he came back.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I just think that they'll be able to do something special. And I will say this, it's going to be definitely a toss-up, because there's, as much as I say that Aston Martin could be 6, they could very well be 5 as well, because I think that they're going to be that's going to be a battle to look for, is Alpine and Aston Martin next year. They're going to be very close with each other.
100%. And speaking of another toss-up, we're going I feel like the top 4, especially 3 and 4 could be a toss-up. It was almost a toss-up, this way. And it's so hard to pick, 3 and 4, because you can honestly switch them around. It's McLaren or Ferrari. For me, at least, I'm going to go with Ferrari at 4. Being a McLaren fanboy, but I'm going Ferrari. Now, they are rumored that the car is very good this season, in 2022. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be super close.
So interestingly, I'm going to be definitely making a hot take here, but I have a really good explanation for it. Okay. So my four is actually going to be Red Bull.
Okay.
And I will give you my 3 as well, because the explanation kind of ties in. 3, I'm hitting it with Mercedes.
Really?
I will explain, because it's the same situation again.
Oh my God.
With the AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
That they spent they spent all of this time, all of this money into this car so that they have this championship contending. They thought that this would be the last time before the new era that they were going to get their championship in, which, of course, Red Bull did. And so did Mercedes, winning the constructors. And then, of course, Max winning the drivers. But I think all of that and all of that development, they're just the car, not obviously, of course, they're going to be a top team because they are top teams. But I just don't think that that performance will be able to carry over as far as maybe some of the other teams like Ferrari or McLaren that will be able to push forward and definitely move into those top 2 spots.
So next, so number 3, I actually have Mercedes. The reason why I have Mercedes is just because George Russell, he's getting used to a new car. So I think it's going to be a lot of Lewis this season. Obviously, Mercedes has spent a lot of money in the new car, but I'm going with Mercedes at number 3. It's a little bit of a hot take. You already said you're number 3. Let's go on to number 2. Number 2, I got McLaren. I think Lando's going to have a huge year. Daddy Rick is going to have a step-up year since he's already had a year, with McLaren. I think it's going to be a big year for McLaren on number 2.
I feel the same exact way, but I don't know. Will we be doing some drivers predictions? I don't know if we could go through the whole grid, but I have a few that'll definitely be interesting.
To do driver predictions, but we'll 100% catch it up on next episode.
So honestly, I'm going with McLaren for 2, and I'll go with my 1 as well, because there's a little bit of an interesting explanation I have for that as well. So McLaren I have as number 2, but that is because truthfully, I believe that Ferrari, which is my number 1 pick, will be the constructors champions next year. 2 fantastic drivers, Carlos and Charles. They'll do absolutely amazing in this rumored to be great Ferrari car. But to that, I will say, to my driver's champion, as I know as biased as this is going to sound, but I do truthfully believe that the Honey Badger, Daniel Ricciardo, will get his time to shine, and I believe he really can be the champion. He has had a little bit of a struggle this season with this new car, and of course, as a seasoned veteran, you would expect him to maybe adjust a little bit quicker. But truthfully, I think this new car, they could do something special, and I really hope that I can see him as the champion.
Yeah, I love that pick, bro. Number 1, I got Red Bull. I just think Max will carry, and Checo will win a couple, but I think they win constructors. For the driver champion, I'm going with Carlos Sainz. Even though, I do have Ferrari at number 4, I do think Carlos Sainz will have a massive year, and I think he will be the winner of the World Drivers' Championship. All right, so let's move on. The Miami Grand Prix is a new, track this year. And, me living in Miami, Seth living in New York, it's honestly beautiful, that the first year I watched Formula One, I get to go to a race in Miami, and it's going to be so exciting.
Definitely an interesting pick. I was not expecting this one, as we already do have a U.S. Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. Yeah. But to that, I will say, definitely brings in, because there's so many more American fans now with this new Drive to Survive. Whole absolute popularity boost for Formula One in the United States. So definitely an interesting spot.
Especially this year, like me even getting hooked in August, on Formula One. I feel like people saw it on Netflix, just watch it, and then they fell in love with this Drive to Survive thing. And that has 100% brought so many more F1 fans to the sport. And honestly, it's awesome. Because before I knew who Lewis was. I didn't really know who Max was. I didn't really know what the sport was. But now, just watching that show, even though it's all right, they do a lot of drama on that show. But it just brought so many United States fans, and I feel like it's gonna be crazy down in Miami.
Absolutely. Amazing experience, I'm sure. But for the drivers themselves and the track and the teams, I feel like the layout is definitely an interesting one. It definitely gives me a little bit of it gives me that Yas Marina, the Abu Dhabi vibes, but at the same time, I feel like a little Jeddah there with those high-speed turns. I really think that it could be an interesting one to race, or it could be an absolute dud, but I just feel like the experience, it's kind of like a Monaco. It's just so amazing to say, it's the Monaco Grand Prix, but but the racing isn't as good. But it's like Monaco. Same thing with Miami. Miami's like the spot, like, you know, South Beach,
One problem.
Miami Vice, like all of those vibes. You know what I'm saying?
I have one problem with the race. Like it's at Hard Rock Stadium. Like no offense to Hard Rock Stadium, it's just I don't know if the crowd, you know, listening to this has ever been in Miami here, but that's 25, 30 minutes depending on traffic outside of the like downtown. And like honestly, like I wish there was a street circuit in like downtown Miami and South Beach. Like that would be even more awesome. But like it's fine where it is, you know, Hard Rock Stadium, but like
I mean, think about for a fan like me who lives in New York, they gotta think about demographics there too. Like if you got some fans that are up north or in other parts of the country, how are they getting to watch this? Like you want people to come to your events. You got to pick a better location. Not saying that Florida is a bad spot. It's a great spot. Miami is a beautiful city. But if you're going to do it in a spot that's everybody can get, that's not super far for everybody to get to. For me to get to Miami, I have to go on a plane, spend money on the plane, and then spend money on tickets to watch the thing. So
yeah,
it's
a lot
definitely
of people though are no. I feel like Miami's a great location.
okay. All right.
No, because let's say the roles were reversed. Let's say I lived in New York, you lived in Miami, right? I mean, you'll be like, "This is awesome! It's my hometown," right?
I get that. I do get that. But like, yeah.
I mean, let's say you live in London and the race is in Silverstone. I mean, London's different because you can drive or take the train. But like, same with Austin. Like, let's say you live in California, you still have to fly.
I'm not saying that you don't, but when you start adding more Grand Prix in your country, or continent, really,
Yeah.
you got to think about that stuff, because then it becomes a thing of which one do you go to, or which one's closer, which one makes more sense. If you're going to add more, why can't you add one in my city? I live in New York. Like, that's a great place. Why aren't we building one there? Somebody lives in LA. Why don't we have an LA Grand Prix? You know what I'm saying? They got to think about that stuff, because before there was Miami, it was just Austin. Yeah. And if you were able to get to that, you were going. But now that you got more fans here, you really got to think about where are you putting your Grand Prix? What are you doing with it?
But I feel like Miami's a great location to start. It's Miami. You know what I'm saying? I mean, good. All right, this is the end of the podcast here. It was great having you, Seth. I'm Ethan Bass, your host, and we'll see y'all later.